The film A Long Way Down was directed by Pasquale Chumel and written by Nick Hornby. Based off of the book written by the same author, the film is about four strangers who find themselves simultaneously attempting to die by suicide by jumping off of the same tall building in Britain. These four strangers end up becoming somewhat acquainted and intrigued by each other's stories. Instead of dying on what happened to be the New Year's Eve of that year, they decide to make a pact to live and to postpone their attempts to at least 6 weeks from that day of Valentine's Day of that year. After that 6-week period, they would reassess if they still wanted to die, or believed they had to. People have been recorded to make pacts to stay alive or pacts to die based upon different scenarios within suicidal ideation. Some of you know that if someone were to come and ask me, "Are you okay? Is something wrong, or can I help you?" I would have stayed alive. Although a bit different in the film shares this similarity. The characters' names are Jess, who is more visibly mentally unstable than the rest; Martin, who is a former semi-famous television host who has been humiliated by a recent prison stint after he had unknowingly had inappropriate relations with an underage girl. Martin claims that this constant humiliation, referred to later in the film, is what leads him to his suicidal feelings. Maureen seems to be the most complicated, with a handicapped son and these deep inner feelings of helplessness and clear hopelessness. And the fourth character, JJ, exclaims to the group that his reason for dying by his own hands is cancer. Later on in the film, we find that JJ doesn't even have the cancer he so described, and that the kind he talked about doesn't even exist. And his only answer was to die by suicide is that he doesn't know. Although it has become crystal clear that JJ is the most tormented of the four by his inner pain. There are some great moments of true levity in the film caused by some oxymorons that the group finds together. The film is cinematically beautiful. Almost every single scene is very clearly choreographed. Every scene cuts to another that leads to a very picturesque moment. The film does hold some myths about suicide and even shows how sensationalistic mass media can be when covering these kinds of topics. The film is obviously not suicide prevention safe in its entirety, but it holds a beautiful message that, if watched to the end, could help someone who's struggling. But frankly, it could hurt someone else. At the end of their 6-week pact, JJ is the one person who finds himself on that ledge once again, on that building, ready to die. But his 3 other new misfit friends find him and help keep him alive. This shows just how important it is for a peer support network to be developed when one has suicidal ideations. The film's ending scenes show a saving of a life. Although I have to say, I am biased about the last scene, which I will share with you here and now.
I got something to say. My therapist...
Therapist? There we go, that's some news. Did you all know JJ's now officially mad?
Jess, you see a therapist too.
Yeah, of course, but all the best people are mad in my opinion.
My therapist told me a story, true story, about this guy who survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
It's an anecdote, it's not strictly news.
The moment he jumped, he realized that the only thing in his life he couldn't fix was the thing he'd just done. I mean, can you imagine those 5 seconds as he fell? The agony of that. Well, to me, it feels like I fell without falling. Because of you guys. I had my 5 seconds up on that roof and not in the air.
5 seconds. Oh, we each gave each other 5 seconds. I like that, JJ.
And then 5 seconds turned into a year.